Guys, Bitcoin is potentially one day away from getting the ultimate stamp of approval in a Bitcoin ETF that will allow Bitcoin to be traded on the stock market 24/7. All right, so in this video, I'm going to be outlining the top Bitcoin layer 2s because I feel like it presents a pretty profitable narrative trading strategy dependent upon if the ETF or ETFs get accepted by the SEC. And it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So before we get started, I do have to say this video should not be taken as financial advice. Please consult with your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. This video is for your education purposes only, and like we always say, do your own research, but use this channel as a starting point. So in this video, we're going to talk about the Bitcoin ETF and the implications it can have. I'm going to go through the top layer 2s built on top of Bitcoin. I'm going to talk about what problem layer 2s are solving, and I'm going to discuss how this could be a pretty good narrative trading strategy depending upon what happens. So without further ado, let's get into the content. So first, let's talk about what a layer 2 is and what problems they're solving. I've talked about this in many other videos, in the arbitrum video, my optimism video, my polygon video, as well as the video I just did on Stacks and Alex, which is a DEX built on top of layer 2. But basically each blockchain has an issue that they're dealing with called the blockchain trilemma. So you have decentralization, security, and scalability, aka transactions per second. Pick two. Each blockchain is optimized for two. Bitcoin is famously optimized for decentralization and security, but it can only handle 7 transactions per second. So it's 3 components of a blockchain. You have the consensus layer that says what's true on Bitcoin as proof of work. You have the data layer, which is storage. That's why you hear about people talking about shards, aka parallel blockchains that can store the memory next to the chain. And then you have execution, which is your computational finality. So right now, all 3 of those things are happening on the layer 1, and any blockchain is in the business of selling blocks. So with all of those things happening, it clogs up the block space, and at times of high volume, it makes transactions slower and way more expensive. So layer 2s are designed to have the execution happening on the layer 2, and via rollups. You hear about optimistic rollups and ZK rollups. They roll the transactions up and compress them so that the memory is smaller, and then they submit it to the layer 1 so that they can still get the security benefits. It's kind of like when you go to a bar. Imagine how annoying it'd be if you had to swipe your card when you bought a drink, fries, snacks, versus just closing out the tab at the end and paying for everything in one transaction, rolling up all those transactions, paying for it at once. It's exactly what these layer 2s do. It's going to help these layer 1s scale, increase the transactions per second, bring costs down, and ultimately just create a better user experience so that we can onboard the next few billion people into crypto. So now we've talked about that. Why are Bitcoin layer 2s potentially a good investment right now? Well, if a Bitcoin ETF gets approved, that's going to be like the biggest stamp of approval that Bitcoin can get at this point. Like we've already saw Tesla and banks buying it. You know, the SEC looks at it as property, like it's already like regulated, but there's no ETF yet, at least here in the United States. So like I always say on my channel, if you watch any of my videos, I feel like I'm not even gonna say bull market, any bullish momentum is fueled by a narrative. One of Warren Buffett's most famous quotes is that in the short term, the market's a voting machine. In the long term, it's a weighing machine. So the voting is people speculating. The weighing is like the fundamental analysis and the price to earnings, all that stuff actually justifying the price. But sometimes it's unbalanced. So I'm going to show you the top Bitcoin layer 2s. Most of them aren't even built out yet. But like I said, the narrative could pump the prices. And as you'll see, the prices for some of these layer 2s have already been pumping pretty hard. So my approach to this is that if the ETF gets approved, I feel like they could pump harder. People are wondering, like, is this a buy the rumor, sell the news? People definitely bought the rumor, but it could be a buy the news as well. Let me explain why. There are 10 plus ETF applications. Anyone that gets approved, they're going to have to purchase a large amount of Bitcoin just so they can be able to fill orders. And they're not going to be able to sell that because they're not going to know when people are going to want to buy the ETF. So it's going to, in my opinion, create a floor where Bitcoin can't go under unless a fuck ton of retail sellers sell, which I don't think would happen. We have the halving coming up in April. You know, it's just a lot of things lining up. So let's look at some more information on the ETFs here. All right, so here we are on CoinDesk. It says First Mover Americas. It's ETF deadline week. And this was published on January 8th. So this SEC has to respond to a spot Bitcoin ETF. Spot means it's backed by actual Bitcoin, not a futures ETF that already exists. So the deadline for at least one application is on Wednesday or tomorrow. So the SEC must decide whether to approve or reject ARK21 shares by January 10th. And I believe that's ARK Invest, Kathy Woods. It says they may improve all of the final applications by that date. And this is why, Bitcoin has been pumping. It also says here the odds of a spot Bitcoin ETF being approved in the US has risen to more than 90%. Guys, it's to the point now where if they don't approve these ETFs, they're going to get sued by all of the applicants. Like all these companies that are applying for a Bitcoin ETF, they all have pretty massive war chests, at least most of them. So now that we went over that, let's go through the top layer 2s. Some of which offer an investment opportunity, some of them don't. But at the very least, I want to keep them on your radar in case there's an investment opportunity after, so you don't have to hurry up and rush and do your research. All right, guys, so the first one is the Lightning Network. And this is like the famous one that I'm sure you already know about. There is no token for this, so you can't buy the Lightning Network, but you can use it. And like I said, layer 2s are to help increase transactions per second. So the Lightning Network is basically designed for high amounts of transactions that can be settled immediately. Like the reason why Bitcoin isn't practical to accept in let's say a restaurant or a convenience store is because, what if a person can try to send some Bitcoin that they don't have and then they walk out the store. But given that the mining and the block rewards and the whole process happens every 10 minutes, it could be a situation to where after you leave the store, you realize oh, that person didn't have the Bitcoin and now they just got the product for free. So this offers instant payments without worrying about block confirmation times, and security is enforced by blockchain smart contracts without creating an on-chain transaction for individual payments. And payment speed is measured in milliseconds versus seconds. It's capable of millions and billions of transactions per second versus just 7 that Bitcoin can do on the layer 1. It's low cost, and it says it can do cross-chain atomic swaps as well. And if we go on DeFi Llama and we look at the Lightning Network, we can see that right now they have a total value locked of $235 million. The next one, and my favorite one, is Stacks. This is the most popular one. If you guys watch the show Silicon Valley Startup, and Richard was talking about his compression algorithm, this was actually funded. This Stacks used to be Blockstack, and Blockstack helped write the script to Silicon Valley Startup. And a lot of people believe that the project was Stacks. So you can kind of go through their website. If you're a developer and you want to build, you get all that info. They have a proof of transfer consensus mechanism that connects Stacks and Bitcoin, allowing applications to benefit from the security. They were helping to bring DeFi on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not Turing complete. So Turing completeness means that a system can perform complex transactions. I recommend everyone watch the movie The Imitation Game, and you'll see that the computer was actually created to crack the Enigma, which was the encryption machine that I think Germans or Russians, I get them mixed up, were using in World War II. It was how they communicated with each other. So we created the computer to crack the Enigma so that we can see where their boats were, where their planes were. And then we had to keep the secret that we cracked it so that they wouldn't know and be able to change their communication mechanism. So Alan Turing, which is what Turing Complete is named after, it pretty much highlights the difference between a calculator and a computer. A calculator can only do calculations with numbers. Computers can do all sorts of things. So Bitcoin is non-Turing complete, but layer 2s on Bitcoin can be Turing complete. Ethereum was the first Turing complete blockchain. And if you watch my last video that I did on Alex, the layer 2 DEX built on Stacks, I cover that whole thing way more extensively. Definitely recommend watching that. And they also are going to allow you to have Bitcoin NFTs, which are what ordinals are. So Stacks brings smart contracts and decentralized apps to Bitcoin. It doesn't alter the original Bitcoin blockchain, but it extends its functionality and it enables developers to innovate while leveraging Bitcoin's robust network. If we look here on DeFi Llama and we go to chains and we scroll down, you can see that Stacks is number 38 in TVL. They have $61 million locked on the chain. And this is the project that I covered. And you can see they have a DEX on there, liquid staking, collateralized debt position, look like some yield farm. I haven't went through all these DEXs. So, they have a few applications built on top of it, as you can see. the TVL has been pumping in anticipation of a Bitcoin ETF. So back in October, it was only $13 million. Now we're here at 63 million. If we look at the market cap, you can see that it's a $2.6 billion market cap, which is extremely, extremely small. Like you look at other layer 2s and they're way higher. So this could be a good project to look at, you know, as we're going into the bull market. And then just like, let's cover some technical analysis here so I can show you guys where I would be interested in entering. Just full transparency, I have not bought stacks yet. So as you can see, we have all-time highs here. The market likes to move between ceilings and floors, aka call it support and resistance. Looks like it's meeting this resistance here. This is where people have been offloading, but you can see this huge pump. So what I would be interested to see is that if the ETF gets approved and it drops, okay, that's a good buy, especially if we get down to like this area. But if it pumps and it turns this support into resistance, I really want to see it turn. Let me draw it out for you guys. I want to see it do that, and I want to see it turn this resistance into support, and I want to see a close, not just a candle print, a green candle close on the monthly or the weekly, because at that point, you know, if you just keep going up, is no man's land. And then at that point, price just likes to, you know, people like to take profits at even levels. So you all-time high is 326. So people start selling probably at 5, 7, 10, 15, 20, etc., etc. So that's my plan for stacks. The second layer 2 is Rootstock. And you can see on their website, use your Bitcoins in the Rootstock ecosystem. They're helping to, you know, bring DeFi to Bitcoin as well. Website's pretty cool. It gives me like, you know, 90s vibes, everything you need to know here. You can feel free to go through like all the docs and everything like that. I'm just giving you guys the high level. You can download the white paper and read it. So they have some kind of partnership with this company called Riff. And if we click on it, it brings you to this website here. So Rootstock adds smart contract capabilities to Bitcoin as well. It merges the benefits of ETH smart contracts with Bitcoin's established network, presenting a unique blend of functionality and security. Rift's focus on integration with Bitcoin enhances its position in the layer 2 ecosystem. So you have their RSK, which is their native token, and they have various partnerships with other blockchain projects to indicate a pretty steady position in the market. Its integration with Bitcoin through merge mining has also bolstered its security narrative. So they've integrated with a lot of projects. It seems like I didn't hear about this project until I started, you know, researching the layer 2s. But I wanted to hurry up and get this video out today before the ETF got accepted, potentially accepted tomorrow, so that if you guys wanted to make a decision, you'll have all the info. If you wanted to go through Rift's white paper, you can go through that as well. It's pretty long, but it might be a good read. And if we go to DeFi Llama and you look up Rootstock, you can see that they have $126 million in total value locked. And it's been pretty steady. Like, it isn't like an exponential growth curve like how we saw on stacks. So, you know, it could show that it's a little bit more sticky. They even have Uniswap v3 on Rootstock. So they have decentralized stablecoin. I'm not sure what Sovereign is, but lending, decentralized exchanges, and algo stables. These are like the, you know, beginning applications when you see DeFi come onto another chain. And DEXs are usually a good investment. And I talked about that in the last video on Alex as well. And then here is the RSK token. So the market cap is 161 million. It's up 7% on the day, and you can see it's kind of been pumping pretty much since October as well, but not as hard as stacks. So if we turn this resistance here into support and have a nice close here and start making up these levels, making our way up, this could be, you know, a good narrative trade as well. And if you ever want to look at how to buy something, you just scroll down on CoinGecko and it shows all the places where you can buy it. You can go to number 2. So you can buy it at all these places. It shows the pairs as well. Third layer 2 is Dovi. So Dovi is a lesser known but recent entrant to the Bitcoin layer 2 sector. They're focused on privacy and efficiency. They seek to enhance Bitcoin's transactions while maintaining the core principles and robust security benefits of the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's a second layer solution designed to enhance the Bitcoin blockchain scalability and efficiency, pretty much like all layer 2s. Its unique sales position lies in its ability to facilitate faster and more cost-effective transactions by addressing the inherent limitations of Bitcoin's first layer and handling high volumes of transactions. So they're aiming to, you know, reduce fees and improve transaction speeds as well. This one isn't live yet though. So this is one to keep on your radar once they launch. Might want to keep up with it. It talks about the advantages. Pretty simple site, but like I said, they're not live yet. And if you go on CoinGecko, they do have a token. They don't have a contract address, which is kind of weird. But if you look at the price, it looks like this token's been live pretty much since just the middle of December. So this one could pump, really, even though there's nothing there yet. And these are all the places where you can buy it. And the last Bitcoin layer 2 I want to cover is Liquid Network. It says Liquid Network is a Bitcoin layer 2 solution enabling fast, confidential settlement and issuance of digital assets such as stablecoins, security tokens, and other financial instruments on top of the Bitcoin time chain. Never heard it called a time chain. So Liquid, they've pretty much found a specific user base aimed at traders and exchanges requiring fast, confidential transactions. And its use case is more prominent among institutions and professional traders. So the actual adoption of Liquid by several large crypto exchanges and the issuance of assets on its network highlight the importance in this market, actually. So the network's capacity and the number of issued assets are actually the key indicators to its adoption. So they're kind of taking it from a different angle, and they have their LBTC, which looks like just peg BTC, and this a good amount in circulation, so around almost 4,000. And then it talks about all the Liquid members. Let's see. Liquid is operated by a globally distributed federation of members, including exchanges, financial institutions, and other Bitcoin-focused companies. Members collectively manage the network and guide its development. So almost like node operators, it sounds like, proverbially, I guess. So you got Bitfinex on here, Poseidon. It's a pretty interesting company. Talks about how it works. So Bitcoin on the Liquid network are verifiably backed 1-to-1, the LBTC, by Bitcoin on the Bitcoin main chain. Once the user has transferred Bitcoin to Liquid, they can take advantage of the network speed and confidentiality features when making transactions. Users can also issue new assets on the network, such as stablecoins and security tokens. All right, so they have a few projects here. It looks like a DEX. Got a few articles. They have a blog as well if you want to read more up on it. So with that, I'd like to conclude this video. I hope you guys got value. Like I said, I just wanted to put these projects on your radar. If you're interested in having the knowledge edge and learning about projects before they pump, and you're interested in yield farming, creating passive income in high quality blue chip assets, visit knowitals.xyz or click the link in the description to book a free strategy session. We have a lot of good course materials and video coaching that just helps you grow wealth in not just crypto, but manage your multi-asset portfolio just like an institution or a hedge fund would. So you book a call, you'll talk to someone on our team, we'll ask you a few questions, kind of see where you're at on your journey, see how we can help you, ultimately just see if our program's a good fit. If not, we're happy to answer any questions you may have and point you in the right direction. So other than that, if you got value from this video, I ask that you consider subscribing, drop a like, share with a friend, make a comment, let me know if I missed a layer 2 or if I missed some key information. Constructive criticism is always welcome. But with that, I'm hoping this ETF gets approved so that we can, keep going up into the green. If not, you can only hold a beach ball underwater for so long. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Take care.